We've got a bunch of people here today. We've got Voices of Unity going to sing for you up here. We'll be checking pulses here in a minute. We got Voices of Unity in the house today. We got Jamie London in the house today going to sing. Denise Shergan's going to sing for us. Everybody and their brother's going to sing for you. All kinds of people here, but most important, we have you here, and we know that you are here by divine appointment this morning. So put your seatbelts on. Let me tell you what's happening at Unity this week. We got all kinds of stuff. This afternoon from 1:30 to 3:30, we have Understanding the Enneagram workshop with Ramona Reed. You can, well, I don't know if you can register in advance any longer. It's $25 at the door. I suppose you have 4 hours to register in advance. Come on out and join us for that this afternoon. Secondly, Sunday, April 8th, put it on your calendar, is Barefoot Sunday. That's the day. We're getting ready for Nashville Chooses Peace, you know, and we always collect shoes for Souls for Souls. So Barefoot Sunday, bring a pair of shoes that you plan on leaving. Now, you might want to, you know, wear a pair of shoes, plan on leaving them, take them out, and then, are we having a foot washing after that, Denise, or no? Okay. But bring your Barefoot Sunday. You'll have the hose. Ryan will have the hose set up for you outside before you get into your car. Also Sunday, April 8th, Martha Creek is going to be here. She's going to be our special guest speaker. If you've never heard Martha Creek speak before, you just need to put it on your calendar and come on out and be here, because here's what will happen. Somehow, some way, you will be changed. That's just the way it's going to happen. I am not going to say how you're going to be changed, but you will be changed. She's going to be here the whole weekend for leadership training with our leadership. We're going to be meeting with her Friday night and Saturday. If you'd like a more intensive experience, see Reverend D. We can probably add you into that group as well. Number 4, Nashville Chooses Peace. April 21st is our big festival, folks. Remember, we have the drone, we make a big human peace symbol, we got all kinds of folks here, we invite the community, because we know that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how we label ourselves, what we call ourselves, we are one. That's what unity is all about. And so we join together with our community for Peace Day. Every Tuesday between now and then, we will be meeting. And if you haven't come out and joined one of the organizational meetings, you know what? I think that the Spirit of the universe is speaking to your heart right now to come out on Tuesday night at 6 o'clock and join us. Either that or it's Judy Blackwelder hollering at you, one or the other. Ongoing this week, Wednesday, we have Lunch Bunch at 11:30, and then our Wednesday evening class, Keep a True Lent, starts at 7 o'clock. Come on out and join us for that class. I got other things, but I'm going to save them for now. Let's stand up and sing again, shall we? Sounds like a plan.
Some days I
were just having this conversation just a moment ago, I believe. It is my distinct and wonderful privilege to introduce someone to you right now. You know, over the last year, as Reverend Dee talked about being for a force for good in our world, we started Linda Wanamaker and her crew started the Sacred Community Action Ministry. We've been working with the senior dogs. We've been working with the actual furry ones. We got a lot of senior dogs in here, but I know, right? Senior dogs. It does. It's like a Jimmy Buffett cover band. There you go, senior dogs. We've been working with the senior dogs. We've been working with the Dodson Chapel United Methodist Food Bank. We've been working with Souls for Souls. We've been working with the Pennington Elementary School teachers and gathering supplies for their break room. And we're adding yet another ministry that our community is going to put our sacred energy behind, our physical energy behind, and our financial energy behind. And I'm also pleased to say that the founding executive director is my cousin. So I'd like you to meet Rondi Smith. Come on out, up, Rondi.
It is a sacred privilege to be among you, and I applaud what your church is doing to get outside the walls of the church and out into the world that needs us to be a shining light. So thank you for your community engagement. I'm here to take just a moment to tell you about Rest Stop Ministries. Rest Stop, it has a meaning. Stop the oppression. I'm going to start with that side of Rest Stop. What is the oppression that we are seeking to stop in the world? It is human trafficking, specifically sex trafficking, the commercial sexual exploitation of our women and girls in particular. It's not that it only happens to women and girls, but that happens to be our focus. You need to know that sex trafficking is the second largest and fastest growing crime on the planet. And it is more pervasive than anyone ever knew. It's not just over there in places like Thailand and Cambodia. It is a domestic problem. Every 2 minutes in the United States of America, a child is trafficked for the purpose of sexual exploitation. It is also a Tennessee problem, a local problem. 94 minors a month are trafficked in the state of Tennessee, and no county is immune. It's everywhere, and we need to understand it, and we need to fight it together, because until we are a culture where women and children are not bought and sold, then we have a lot of work to do. So that's the stop side of Rest Stop. The rest side is, don't you love that word, rest? These women and children need an opportunity to rest, to stop the madness, to find a place to heal and to become whole again, and to be rehabilitated and be able to experience the life that maybe they've not even been given permission to ever imagine or dream, but the life that they should have been able to have as a child of God. And so the rest in Rest Stop is restore survivors, and that's what we do. We have a 2-year long-term residential care program for women and girl survivors of sex trafficking out in Lebanon, Tennessee. 25 beautiful acres, 2 beautiful homes, and we have beds for 8 women right now. And we need community support. It is it's the hardest work I've ever done. And I've done hard things before. I mean, I'm Deb Moore's cousin. I had to press something. But this is hard work, and we need your support. And so I'll be out in the lobby. I have a booth and all kinds of information. I'd love to talk to you about how you can get engaged. But thank you so much for the invitation today.
Doesn't know this, but when I would tell people about my cousin Rondi years ago, I would always say, she's got the Midas touch. Because everything Rondi did was a success. And she has done very successful things in the corporate world and in the academic world, and I'm just so proud that she has chosen this as her work in the world. So I love the fact that we are stepping in to support her. Two more quick things before B does the sacred word. First off, you may have gotten an email about renewing your membership. It is that time of the year. If you did, do it. If you didn't, where's Russ? There he is. See that guy right there. Or talk to me, or talk to Dave. We want you to get your membership renewed for the upcoming year. Finally, this Thursday night, we're heading into Easter week. Of course, today is Palm Sunday. This Thursday night is going to be an extremely special service, our Maundy Thursday service. It's going to be experiential. We're going to have different places where you can experience foot washing, communion, spiritual baptism, healing, prayer, all kinds of things. You're going to want to come out and join us for that if you want something that really puts you in the right frame of mind for the upcoming Easter Sunday service. B?
It is Palm Sunday. You should have brought some palms. I didn't think of it. Palm Sunday, the beginning of a week that has the ability to change your life if you are willing to step into it fully. So, we affirm together, I surrender to the Christ of my being, and I am at peace. Palm Sunday represents the day Jesus rode into Jerusalem. Metaphysically, Jerusalem represents a place of peace. Jesus made the decision to be peaceful, fully aware that the events ahead of him would be anything but peaceful. He did that by realizing that the Christ Spirit was already within him. And so today, if there's anything that I have brought into this room that is not the vibration of peace, a thought, a feeling, some words that keep slipping into my mind, a remembrance of an action I have taken, I'm prepared to release that energy now. I begin by breathing out and resetting my breath. I am here now. I breathe into the peace offered by the Christ, and I choose to accept that peace as part of my being. I connect to the one presence and one power, and awaken the divine spark within me. The connection becomes more and more apparent as I focus on my breath. I allow the energy of the divine to flow through my body with every breath I take. I surrender to the Christ of my being, and I am at peace.
So just continue to be in that peaceful place. Focusing on your breath and affirming, I am here now. And if you're having any struggle being here now, pay attention to your body sitting in the chair and acknowledge, I am here now. And anything that I thought I needed to be concerned about or worried about, I can let go. And so if there is anything else that keeps wandering through my mind, I release it with my breath now. And I become fully here in this now moment. I connect to that one presence and that one power that awakens the divine spark within me. And so if I haven't already done, I drop those 18 inches to the home of that divine spark, my heart. and I allow that love to spread throughout my entire body. And I just settle in to the healing and wholeness that it brings me in this now moment, in the silence, in the silence. As I allow this energy to flow through my body, I am open to receive. And I ask that I be love. I surrender. I surrender.
Wake up in the morning and I can't see the sun. I'm already ready for the day to be done. What's that about? Sometimes I think I'm going insane. I can't stand the stress and I can't stand the strain of another day. So I go to my high power, there for me at any hour. I go to my high power, and everything will be okay. That's the only way. Staring at the bottom of my coffee cup, looking down so long that I can't see up. Gotta get a life. Depression is a natural state, asking why, questioning fate. There's a better way. Just go to your high power, there for you and any hour. I go to my high power, everything will be okay. God's the only way for me. You know you can't look forward if you keep looking back. Peace of mind you'll never feel.
I actually have to agree with Jamie. That is one of my favorite songs that Judy Blackwater wrote. Every song Judy Blackwater ever wrote is your favorite song. And the reason I actually asked for that song this morning is because we are getting ready to go through Palm Sunday and Holy Week. And if you really think about Jesus' life, it was anything but holy. Understand that? Hence, I've got something up here with me this morning. It's like we are all demonstrating some sort of something, whether it be physical, emotional, mental, and hear me, I talk to lots of people every week, and everybody I'm reaching out to are going through stuff. You're right on time to ride that donkey right into Jerusalem. Woohoo! Aren't you excited? Yeehaw! So I'm starting with this. You see it says number 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Where have you heard that before? John Martin's You Can't Give It Away. Where have you heard that before? AA. 12 steps. Did you believe the song that you just heard Jamie perform in such an exquisite way? So if we believe that that's true, that I can go to my higher power and everything will be what? Okay, why don't we? Isn't that the million-dollar question? I'm going to tell you why I think we don't in unity. I can't put this off on anybody else. I'm going to put it on unity and new thought. We do something called spiritual bypass. Oh boy. And especially the longer you've known these processes, the more you bypass what's going on. Love and light. I remember the first time I ever took Judy to a Southeastern Region conference, and we sat in this circle with all of these Unity ministers. And when Unity ministers get together, they become real. And they talk about really what's going on in their lives. Some of them are not quite as open as I am on the stage, because I pretty much tell you what's going on in my life. But they become real. And they ask for prayer, and people go, love and light. And I remember we went back to a hotel room one night, and Judy said, that just sucked. What was all of that? And I said, it really did. It did, doesn't it? Have you ever been feeling horrendously horrible, and somebody goes, love and light? Wrong. But we do it to ourselves. You ever put an affirmation on your fridge and assume that that was going to fix it? Yeah. The only issue is, some of us have been using that same affirmation for about 25 years and it ain't fixed it yet. So what are we doing? What are we really doing? Spiritual bypass is a tendency to use spiritual ideas and practices to sidestep, here we go, or avoid facing unresolved emotional issues, psychological wounds, and unfinished developmental tasks. That sounds like a lot of hooey to say, I try to ride up here over the top of whatever it is because I don't really want to deal with it. And I'm hoping, dear God, somebody's going to take it away. That is not New Thought. That is fundamental Christianity. That's the difference between us and fundamental Christianity, but we play that card all the time because we go, well, I can affirm this out of my life. How many of you have tried before to put affirmations all over your car and your forehead and your hand? I used to write them in my hand, so I'd look at them all day long, and then after a while, I realized that that issue just keeps showing up. Because what I know about us as human beings is some of us still have those issues, whether they be relationship issues, whether they be prosperity issues, whether they be health issues. We just keep showing up with that same issue. And we affirm like little Energizer bunnies. Don't we? And then we go, what's wrong with this? This stuff doesn't work. Because we didn't do our work. We did not do the deeper work, because do you know what affirmations are about? An affirmation is something you affirm and you allow anything unlike that to bubble up from down up underneath. And it will. And that's the piece about affirmations that we forget about, and we don't want to do that work. I go, no, that's really not there. Oh, but it is there. And all our friends see it. And they're just being nice. Sometimes. So I want you to look at number one, because a lot of people in Unity don't want to deal with the step one in the 12 steps. Because we affirm that we're one with God, and we affirm that we have everything that the Christ had, and we do. Are you hearing me? But we forget. We forget. Hence, I have whatever this is. I don't know. I don't want to label it, because I could label it and then it would have more power over me. Does that make sense? So I don't label things as something. I just go, this is the experience of epizootic crud. And I know exactly where it came from. I was at the village, Unity Village, those of you that were here last week, for 10 days, and I worked for 7.5, 8, 9, 10 hours a day for the Unity Association. And then I came home, and some of you know that other than this church, I do a lot of counseling and coaching out in the world, and everybody that hadn't seen me those 10 days had to see me this week. And then when I went with Judy to the river house, all of a sudden when I got out of the car and sat down, my body went, sit down, fool. And I did. And I had a list, yay long, of 45 things that I was going to get done when I was there. Guess what? I sat down. That's all I did. That's all I did, is sit down. I admitted it to my friend Deb. I said, Deb, I'm just sitting down. I ain't doing anything I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm sitting down. Step number 1, I admit I am powerless over. We don't want to admit that, because we want to go, ta-da! Especially us Aries. Lord mercy. We want to be in control of it all. But if we were in control of it all, we wouldn't be having these issues. Does that make sense? Can you hear me? And so the minute that you can admit that you are experiencing powerlessness over some sort of an issue is the minute that you surrender. But that's why we don't want to sing that song we sing after the meditation. That's why we don't want to talk about surrender. That's why we don't want to do that. In Unity, we want to pretend. We want to go back to this page. We want to affirm that everything is fine, love and light. Right? So, this is not true confessions. This is just for you to go inside and go, what is it that has the appearance in my life right now that I cannot deal with it? What is it? Right now it would appear that I can't deal with whatever this is right here in my physical body. But we all have something. Something. Now go back to the song Jamie sang. What did she say to do? Go where? Would that not be special? But what I know, even as a leadership at church, we sit around tables and we talk about it for hours. And hours. And hours and hours. And then we go, we don't know how to fix this. So then we have another meeting and we talk about it for hours more. What should we be doing? Praying. And I just looked at my friend Jill and I'm thinking the school board. Pray. 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 Our country. Pray. Our city. Pray. We say we believe that we are one with Holy Spirit, with God, with whatever you want to call it, but do we take the time in our day to go to the higher power and deal with that? That's such a simple thing that is so difficult to remember when we're out in our day-to-day life because we think we've got this. I got this. Thank you very much, I got this, right? Spiritual bypass. Anybody in here stubborn? Other than me? Linda, if you hadn't raised your hand, I would have called you. Just because I see myself in you. You know that? Remember when we get into the story of Jesus at the end of my lesson, Jesus rode a donkey into Jerusalem. Jerusalem stands for the place of peace. Guess why he was sitting on a donkey, metaphysically? You got to sit on your stubbornness to be peaceful. You get that? You got to sit on your stubbornness to be love. And sometimes I don't want to. You got to sit on that stuff. Stubbornness is showing dogged determination not to change one's attitude. I am not going to do this. I refuse. Can you imagine being Jesus and knowing that you needed to ride into Jerusalem and what was going to happen the next week? I would have said, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to run fast, and go hide somewhere. Because I don't want to deal with this. And I'm supposed to be peaceful through all this. Anybody in here, other than me, ever known that you were stepping into a hornet's nest? So how do you become peaceful and stay peaceful when you're jumping into a hornet's nest? Breathe and go to your higher power. That's such a simple, simple, simple thing. So today is Palm Sunday, as Deb said. This is the beginning of a Holy Week. And it's when Jesus entered Jerusalem. And it supposedly was an exciting time for those people. But do you know why it was exciting for them? Did anybody in here know? Anybody a Bible scholar be? They thought he was going to overthrow the Roman government. That's what they thought. Well, that was not on his agenda, was it? But that's what they thought. So they were excited and screaming and hollering and thrilled to see him coming into Jerusalem because they had misinterpreted what he had said. So the trip from Jerusalem to the tomb and resurrection looks like this. If you've been in any of my classes over the last 20 years, you've seen this before. But I'm going to very quickly explain it to you, and you can find yourself wherever you are. Know that there is no right or wrong place to be as long as you acknowledge where you are in this moment. There's a place called Toomey, victimhood. Things are happening to me, and I can't do anything about it. I've heard people say, well, they just happened. It just happened. I don't want to live in a universe that is that disorderly, that things just happen. Does that make sense? Things don't just happen. Our universe has universal laws, and things work in a flow and in a way. So if it feels like it just happened to you, it's because you're not paying attention to something. Something. Does that make sense? Because things don't just happen. And that may be all that you can wrap your mind around today. When we talk about the story of Jesus and going into Jerusalem and the things that happened next, that they didn't just happen. There's a reason the process happened exactly the way it did. When we jump out of victimhood and we begin to understand that things don't just happen to us, that I have a little bit more power than that. We go into what I call the buy me stage. I can manifest. And I start doing it. A lot of people manifest parking places. That seems like a biggie. People want to manifest a parking place. And they are just all excited about it, and they tell us all, I manifested this. Da, 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 da. But do you understand, if you hang out there, that's not really being one with God. That's just me working my juju out in the middle of the universe. And that can be fun. It gets us up out of being a victim. And so it's necessary on your journey to understand that you do have that power. That you can work with the law and create something. Because you can. But at some point in time, you have to begin to say that there is a force and a power that is greater than me, that is working through me to create something. I didn't manifest a parking space. I had a thought, and I felt what it would feel like to be right up close to the door. And I put that juju out there. And somebody walked out the door at the right time and got in their car because they were excited about going home. And they got in their car and drove off, and I pulled in and went, ta-da! the thing I was forgetting is that there were pieces of the puzzle that had to work together. That person had to decide they were going to leave. At the same time, I drove up and decided I needed a place to park. Does that make sense? So when I begin to understand that Holy Spirit is working through me and my thoughts and my words and my beliefs to help me create my world, then my world starts getting a little bit bigger. Does that make sense? And here comes the kicker. As me. So what I want you to do for about 35 or 40 seconds or a minute is I want you to talk with someone sitting close to you and tell them when you've had an experience of either by me, through me, or as me. As me means that God is expressing through me in this very moment, and I know it. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute. One of the things I will share with you is that I hear a lot of times when I'm working with our prayer chaplains that they have an experience of through me and as me. Because someone will show up and ask for prayer, and they go in to have prayer with somebody, and all of a sudden these words just come out of them that they don't even know where they came from. You know what I mean? And they go, oh, that was Holy Spirit talking through me. Whether or not you want to call it channeling or whatever you want to call it, it doesn't matter what you call it. It is Holy Spirit flowing through you. So would it not behoove us when we're in the midst of something to push the pause button for a minute? I'm not saying stop the school board meeting and go, we're going to breathe and pray right here. Although that wouldn't be a bad idea. But you can reset your breath and do it while things are happening. Because we can all do that. Because what we are commanded to be is love. Do you understand we are commanded not to be loved, but to love? But we're running around trying to be loved, aren't we? You just gotta love me. Please. Because we don't understand the way the universal laws work. The universal laws say if I love, then love will come back to me, but I don't believe that. So I go out and try to get somebody to love me. How's that working for us? It doesn't, does it? Because if they don't want to reciprocate, they're not going to. No matter how much we try. No matter how much we try to do something different, change ourselves, what flows from us returns to us increased and multiplied. We say that at the end of our offering every Sunday morning, heaped up, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. For that's the what? And so it is. It's the law. It's the universal law. Whatever I put out there, I get back. So what if Jesus had gone into Jerusalem and all of a sudden realized the people were so very excited and they wanted him to overthrow the government, and he had colluded with a whole bunch of people and started overthrowing the government? What would that have been like? Can you imagine? Because sometimes people get their ego all wrapped up in that. You know what I mean? Let's all get together because everybody's really excited about this, so let's all get together and we'll go fight this. Fighting and peace don't go together. Are you aware of that? Are you aware of that? Some of you are going, huh. So what I'm going to tell you is that what Jesus did for the next few days is he spent time with his disciples. He spent time with the people that he loved because he knew that he wasn't going to be in the physical body much longer. And what he chose to do with them was to love them and serve them. He wasn't going, oh, this is horrible and I'm going to die and I need y'all to love me and take care of me. He said, here's the deal. Here's what's happening. And I'm going to have a dinner. And we're going to eat. And we're going to love on each other. And I'm going to wash your feet. And Peter said, well, no, you're not washing mine. I ain't letting you wash mine. Any Peters in here? I ain't letting you wash mine because I don't want you to love me like that because I don't even know how to deal with it. Does that make sense? That's why this is a holy week. That's why we're having a Maundy Thursday experience here in the sanctuary. And know that those of you that give yourself the gift of coming, this whole sanctuary is going to be transformed. There's going to be a Garden of Gethsemane in the center that you will start in. I don't know if you know what happened in the Garden of Gethsemane, but that was Jesus' last-ditch effort to say to his higher power, please don't make me do this. I don't want to do this. I have agreed to show up as peace, but I don't really want to do this. So if it's any other way that I can be peaceful and not have to do this, please. Then in here, there's going to be several things that are going to be happening. And the reason I'm telling you about this is because I'm excited that it's happening here in our spiritual community. There's going to be communion. And know that you can stay in the Garden of Gethsemane the whole evening if that's where you want to be. And meditate. Or you can experience any of the activities that are going on. It is all self-selective. It's not something that we're going to make everybody go through all at the same time. But there will be communion offered by Pope Sharon Duffy and Pope Carolyn Bauer. Our resident popes, Catholic popes here. There will be spiritual baptism, which I'm not going to give all that away to you all, but Deb Moore and I are creating something that are going to have to do with the elements, the sacred elements. There's going to be foot washing. And some of you may be Peters, and there's nothing wrong with that. You just need to acknowledge that I'm a Peter, and I don't want anybody looking at my feet or washing them. Thank you very much. But what I can also tell you is because I've gone through this experience with this congregation so many times, and there is something that happens for the person who's washing feet and the person who's having their feet washed. And usually there's tears involved. Because that is a level of service that feels so pure. There will be prayer. Place of prayer. If you are sitting in the Garden of Gethsemane, or if you go through an experience and then you think, I really need to go to my higher power and deal with this right now, and I need some assistance. some of the prayer chaplains will be here for you. There will also be people that will do some healing, some Reiki healing. So some of our healing ministry people will be here. So it's going to be quite an experience to not miss if you can help it. Because really and truly, and know that Jamie's getting ready to sing a song for you, and this is not the end. This is just a pause button before we talk a little bit more and end. Do you understand that it's all about love? Do you understand that what Jesus went through and why people call it a Holy Week is because it is all about love? Even when I say, I don't want to.
Well, I never thought that salvation had to be so hard. Throw out indoctrination and live from the heart. Think about the ones who go before, the ones who figured it out. It isn't hard to remember what their lives are all about. It's all about love. It's all about love. It's all about loving God and loving each other. It's all about love. So embrace your higher power and your sisters and brothers. Go see an advisor. Talk to your guru. Cut the cards, count the stars, practice a little voodoo. Check out your horoscope, your astrological chart. But if you want to know what's real, just listen to your heart. It's all about love. It's all about love. It's all about loving God and loving each other. It's all about love. Love. So embrace your higher power and your sisters and brothers. All right, we'll do something a little different. We're about to learn this song. All right, I sing it's all about love. You go. It's all about love. It's all about love. It's all about love. Let it hard. That's 3 times. It's all about love, love, love. It's all about loving who? Let's hear that verse. Loving God and then what? Loving each other. God, sisters, and brothers. So stand up on your feet because it's like comatose in here all of a sudden. Ready? It's all about love. It's all about love. Loving God. It's all about loving God and each other. Loving each other. We're gonna love God some more. It's all about love. Love. So embrace your higher power. So embrace your higher power and your sisters one more time. It's all about love. It's all about love. It's all about loving God and loving each other. It's all about love. It's all about love. So embrace your higher power and your sisters and brothers. It ain't hard, y'all. It's all about love.
So, this is actually the lesson title of today, but I saved it till now. Do you understand why that's important right now? Because we can talk about all this all day long, but your actions speak louder than all these words. What do you do when you leave here? Because remember, this is easy here. Go eat lunch. And are you loving when you eat lunch? Depends on what the waitress is like, right? Yeah. Your actions speak louder than words. So last week we talked about judgment. And we said we had to get rid of judgment. And I had people email me and contact me and go, how can I ever be a better person if I don't judge myself every day? And I said, I sort of understand what you're saying. But it's about discerning who you are as an individual with love. Because it's all about what? Love. You just sang it. Yes, it's all about love. Judgment is kind of harsh. Discernment is a little bit different because it's from your heart space. So I want you to look at this. I can only imagine what was going through his head at that point in time as he's going into Jerusalem to be with his disciples, and all these people are going, woo! And he gets it. These people think that I'm going to save them. Can you hear that? Have you ever had somebody in your life that thought that you were going to save them? Do you understand how heavy that feels? Can you even begin to understand what the Christ felt in that moment? Can you feel that inside yourself? Because sometimes there are people that glom onto us in the world and think we're going to save them. That happens all the time to me. She's the minister. She can save me. I'm like, I can't save me. Why would you think I'm going to save you? Does that make sense? So he's riding into Jerusalem. And his mind is full of who knows what, because remember, yes, he was divine, just like we are, but he was human also. And he's going, oh no, this is not going to be pretty. These people are going to be mad because they're going to think that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Because I'm not here to save them. I'm here to do what I'm here to do to bring peace to the world. And I don't even know if he fully even got the bigger picture of what was happening. You know what I mean? You ever had to walk into the middle of something and you knew that it wasn't going to be pretty and you did not know all the picture? And were you willing to be peaceful? And that's where we are. Because he realized, as I give, so shall I receive. So remember, the first thing he did after he got there was found a place. And not for him to sit and cry and moan and go, this is horrible, I can't believe this is happening to me. He said, I'm here to serve you. I want to offer you some food. I want to offer you some communion with me and with Holy Spirit. So that as these are some of my last days, so that I can be loved. And so that is what you will remember from me. And I'm going to wash your feet. Now remember, that was a bigger deal in those days than it is now, because they walked everywhere on dusty roads. But know that the people that choose to get their feet washed, on Thursday night you will have your feet washed and you will also have them anointed with oil, which is exactly what he did there. To understand the beauty and the depth of what that means. Because your feet are what supports you on this earth. To do what it is you came to do and to be the love that you came to be. And then he went here. And as I was talking to Crystal this morning, this picture, my grandmother had this picture hanging in her house, in her living room. And even as a little child, it was eerily comforting. You know what I mean? It was a little disturbing, but it was eerily comforting. It was like there's something special about that. And I'd heard the stories of the Garden of Gethsemane and that he sweat bullets of blood, and I was like, oh, mercy. And that he cried. And then all of his disciples, all those little merry men, they went to sleep. They weren't anywhere around. And he would keep going out and going, hello, can you wake up? I'm suffering here. Hello. Oh, excuse me. But do you understand that when you get to this point, you have to do it by yourself? Because when you fully understand your purpose here on this earth, you can't drag other people with you, but we want to, dear God, we want to. Ask Judy, I've drugged her all over the world. Come on, let's go do this. Come on, let's go do this. Your purpose is unique to you. Now, it's about love, I can promise you. And it's about the way you're going to express love as God on this planet. That I know. But we have to go through this part right here to be ready to do it. Because a lot of times it's not something I really want to go, woo! Because you remember when we started about that surrendering those issues to a higher power? That's why you have those issues. Because if you will really surrender them to a higher power, you will get clearer about your purpose. Because they're standing in the way of your purpose. So breathe for a moment and close your eyes. And we're going to begin with a reset breath. So just blow out. I am here now. Living, loving Spirit, I ask for your help with this issue. And I ask you to heal me at depth. And I turn it over to you. Reveal the things that need to be revealed to me in this moment. And heal the things that need to be healed in this moment so that I can show up as you, as love in this world.
Not my mother, not my father. preacher, but it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's not my brother, not my sister, but it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's not my brother, it's not my sister, but it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's not the president or the Congress, but it's me, oh Lord. I'm standing in the need of prayer. It's not the Democrats or the Republicans, but it's me, oh Lord. I'm standing in the need of prayer. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. It's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, I'm standing in the need of prayer. It's me, it's me, it's me, it's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. Standing in the need of prayer. Greatest commandment is to love one another. Jesus, our brother, spoke these words to all. Follow his footsteps and see where they lead you. What if the whole world answered his call? Can I not share the love of Jesus with Sometimes it's hard to take it all in. All you've got to do is accept and receive it. It begins in you and it has no end. How can I not share the love of Jesus when it feels like my heart will overflow? How can I not share the love of Jesus? It's the greatest story ever told. I will share His love wherever I Tell me, how can I not share the love of Jesus when it feels like my heart will overflow? Tell me, how can I not share the love of Jesus? 'Cause it's the greatest story ever told. I will share His love wherever I go.
You know, I think you ought to do some more singing, Jamie, every now and then, because that's really good stuff right there. I had some spine tingly things going up and down my spine. It is time for us to do our sacred walk of abundance. If you're here with us for the first time, the way that we give back to our spiritual community is that we come forward and we take an affirmation from this bowl and then place tithes, gifts, offerings into the crystal bowl. And we'd love it if you would join us. If you want to take those gifts in your hands now and say the affirmation along with me, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
you know who Paddock Church will be in the lobby. Know that one of the One Nashville initiatives is to tell people to quit fussing and complaining and to vote. Vote, vote, vote. And if you don't know who's running, get to know them and then vote. Vote, vote, vote. So if you are not registered, she will get you registered. If you need to change your address, she can help you with that. And Pat, you might want to once I go on out there with me. Oh, she's got to sing. Okay, got you. So we open our hands and our hearts and our minds because we know that we are leaving a legacy of love. And we know what we are about. We are about love and joy and peace and everything else we release. And when we do that, it comes back to us, heaped up, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, for that's the law, and so it is. Amen.
You know, I was listening to that Leaving a Legacy of Love song. It's got that little chop-chop-chop thing. I think that might be a great cover tune for that Jimmy Buffett cover band, the Senior Dogs. I think it would be just fine. Let's all stand and join hands and sing together to go up this service.
Light of God surrounds us. The light